Hello there and welcome to UBC News Tonight this Wednesday, the 4th day of March 2026. But first, let's have a look at our top stories. Corruption and poverty at 15th Tarehe Sita Thanksgiving. Government issues stern warning to fuel companies over price hikes and holding. NHCC allocates 20 acres to Spiro, Uganda to boost electric motorcycle production. And the Judiciary rolls out a digital judgment writing tool to enhance efficiency and transparency. There and welcome once again. We are coming to you live online and on air from Broadcasting House here on Nile Avenue. On sign language, it is Elizabeth Nakakoni, and I am Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma. The Uganda People's Defence Forces UPDF has held the 15th Tarehe Sita Thanksgiving prayers with a call for unity, integrity and renewed commitment to national service. Held at the Ministry of Defence and Veteran Affairs headquarters in Mbuya, Kampala, the ceremony brought together serving officers, veterans and political leaders to reflect on the liberation struggle that began in February 1981. President Yoweri Museveni and Janet Museveni attended the prayers. Ivan Kahwa reports.
The Uganda People's Defence Forces has held its 15th annual Tarehe Sita Thanksgiving ceremony at the Ministry of Defence and Veteran Affairs headquarters in Mbuya, Kampala. President Yoweri Museveni and Education Minister Janet Museveni graced the ceremony. The annual Thanksgiving brings together the UPDF fraternity to acknowledge God's sovereignty, align national values with divine principles and promote unity. The prayers are held in honor of Tarehe Sita, the historic February 6th attack on Kabamba Barracks that marked the beginning of the liberation struggle.
While the pioneers of the struggle secured the country, it is now the sacred duty of the new generation, especially our young officers, to consolidate and protect these gains.
Minister Janet Museveni dedicated the UPDF to God, while retired Archbishop Henry Luke Orombi, the guest speaker, commended the force for safeguarding peace and stability in the country.
When we see the war and the fear of war that is spreading in the Middle East, we acknowledge that the peace and stability that we have experienced in these decades in this country is not because of the strength of our military arsenal, but rather the strength of our God. Lord Jesus, the Prince of Peace, continue to bring peace to Uganda.
My prayer is that God will provide you wisdom. God will give you extra vision to fulfill that mandate. Secondly, we continue to thank God who has given us peace with our neighbors. And thanks to UPDF. Our neighbors are not quarreling with us. We have peace. We've been living ever since 1986. We have not gone into war. Thank God for that.
Lieutenant General retired John Mugume shared his testimony about the Liberation War, recalling the long treks and sacrifices made by fighters during the struggle. Veterans also referenced the role played by Dr. Kanukiza Besige during the struggle.
Somebody cocked a gun, and we knew we were ready, an ambush. So as I was planning to charge the ambush, the enemy made a mistake and came near us with the gun near. So Late Keitare grabbed him, he was behind me, and we humbled him.
But to do it carefully, we even called Besige. You remember I called Besige?
You called Besige, Fan.
Besige is now something else. basically to teach us how to administer chloroform safely so that the person doesn't die. He sleeps and then wakes up. So they would inject him, then take him away until he wakes up, and then they start questioning him.
I remember when I was injured that day, they called him and he delayed. Also, he had problems with His Excellency the President. He said, how do you delay? People are bleeding and you are not coming so soon to come and support them. So he came later, supported us, and that's why we are still here. So he had his own contribution, challenges and weaknesses. Sometimes they come in, but after that, he did not continue with the struggle.
President Museveni attributed the success of the liberation struggle to divine intervention and encouraged Ugandans to pray while remaining committed to hard work.
It has come to me that when you are in a just cause, God will be with you.
I reiterate UPDF's gratitude to God for the life of our nation, Uganda.
God will supplement you where you have not seen. Even if you have not seen, God will, He will appreciate what you have done and add a gap in whatever you are doing.
President Museveni has given assurance that his government will address issues of poverty, corruption, drug theft, vices that affect people's livelihoods. He has commended the Uganda People's Defense Forces for supporting socio-economic transformation. Mr. Museveni has also reiterated his commitment and the commitment by the government to ensure that Uganda has a museum to preserve Uganda's history.
We have secured some land near Migade. We are going to build a museum there. This museum you are talking about, of the resistance, so that we give information to the new generation about the problems of their country and the efforts that were expended to get Uganda where it is now.
This year's theme was drawn from Joshua chapter 1 verse 8. Do not let this book of the law depart from your mouth. Then you will be prosperous and successful. Ivan Kahwa and Dan Lugemwa, UBC News.
Thanks, Ivan Kahwa, of course, quoting for that scripture there at the end of that story. Now, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, has welcomed the decision by the Central Executive Committee, SEC, of the ruling National Resistance Movement, NRM, to formally endorse the current leadership of Parliament to retain their respective positions in the next Parliament. Mr. Tayebwa said the positive performance and achievements of the 11th Parliament were among the key factors considered by the SEC in reaching its decision.
But if it has happened, I thank the Lord, because we've tried our level best. You know, I've been reading and watching a lot going on in terms of what we've done and our delivery as an office speaker and deputy speaker. And I usually reserve my comments. I watch from Kamori because the major functions of Parliament as enshrined in the law are representation, legislation, oversight, and appropriation. If you score us based on those 4 critical mandates, I can tell you would get an excellent mark. Most of the issues where people wanted to judge us are issues outside those critical mandates, because I would want, we have streamlined appropriation. We no longer have fights on appropriation, because now we ensure the process from when it starts to when it ends is highly consultative. 2, legislation. We have passed very, very critical laws, both government sponsored and private members sponsored. To the extent that some of these laws, I remember when we passed, I think it was 7 amendments in around 1 week, and everyone was crying, but Uganda was going to be blacklisted by FATF. It would have been cut off from the international banking system. We are going to be put in the category of North Korea. And when we were given that short time, we worked in overdrive. It was as if we were on steroids to ensure that we protect our country. But I remember even then we were criticized. I remember when we amended the law to provide a monopoly for oil imports by UNOC. You know, we were abused, they said they bribed us, they did what? But I can tell you with the crisis we have, if it was the oil companies still importing fuel, by now the price would have doubled. Because they would hoard. But the government has no interest in hoarding fuel. You know, the middlemen who are in. So sometimes we are vindicated. You know, me, as long as I do something right, I know that one day I'll be vindicated. So this is one of the biggest tests that we had. I can tell you with the war, whereby over, I think, 70% of the oil supplies pass the Strait of Hormuz, which is the 5-kilometer stretch, I think 21-kilometer stretch, and Iran. With this crisis, if we had not passed that law, of which we were abused by many people on social media, that the president directs you, that what, I can tell you would be in a very big crisis. So I've learned one thing, that do your part and let the rest judge. But I believe we have scored well.
Deputy Speaker of Parliament Thomas Taiwa ending that report there. Now, the government of Uganda has received investors with the capacity to set up a solar energy plant at Namamve Industrial Park to produce 350 megawatts of power. The managers of Eco Energy Africa from Sweden today met the Prime Minister of Uganda, Robin Anabanja, to discuss possibilities of establishing a solar energy plant at Namamve Industrial Park.
Currently, Uganda generates 2,500 megawatts of power, more than it consumes from its hydropower, but it's projected that this will not be sufficient enough to sustain the growing demand from the industries. This is the reason why Uganda wants to take advantage of her potential to tap into renewable energy and add more power on the national grid. This morning, the Prime Minister of Uganda, Robin Anabanja, hosted a Swedish company, Eco Energy Africa, that is interested in setting up a solar energy plant at Namamve Industrial Park to produce 350 megawatts of power.
We're seeking land allocation approval for the Namamve Industrial Park next to us so that we can implement the solar and battery. We're going to present the Namamve 350 megawatt PV plus battery project.
Our interest to look on your challenges when it comes to grid stability, and also to help you to cut your losses in the grid.
Accompanied by the State Minister in charge of investments, Evelyn Anite, the company is seeking to be allocated land at Namamve to establish the plant, the first of its kind in Uganda. However, the Prime Minister is concerned about the cost at which the company intends to sell the power to the government.
And energy must be cheap. We are currently selling our energy at a cost of 5 US cents, because Kenya is selling their kilowatt at 5. Tanzania is at 4.8. Ethiopia is at 4. And so we see that is tilting the investment from our country to those areas where there is cheap power. So in order for us to be competitive, we need, before we even do anything, We need to know the cost of your power you are going to add on our grid.
We would not be comfortable to conflict with our target. You just heard the Right Honourable Prime Minister telling you our target is to give it at 5 cents. And we have already set and communicated this to the industrialists.
The Prime Minister informed his guests that Uganda is the safest country in Africa to invest in.
We are peaceful with the help of our president. Uganda is the best investment destination currently in Africa. Why? We have a highly educated population at 80%. There are few countries with this population. Young. 70% of our population is still young. And so we are also welcoming it because we are going to help our people get employment.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister today held an interministerial meeting to discuss the progress on several infrastructure projects. The Premier expressed concern over the slow pace at which the projects are being done. She wants to resume routine supervision of the projects, especially those under Kampala Capital City Authority.
So after this meeting, I want us to take off the Friday from morning to tutambule with your contractors. Chichechi balemeseza kati ngulu webundi obina kulabira Nansana Junction on the bridge. Where is it that they are not completing that way? Contractor change out. Obama must say, what is it for?
Premier Nabanja ending the report there filed by Jingo Francis. The Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, Ruth Nankabirwa, has asserted that despite disruptions caused by conflict along the Strait of Hormuz supply route, Uganda remains confident in its partner, Vitol Bahrain, to source fuel products through alternative routes. Now, this is based and included in the Petroleum Supply Amendment Bill 2023, where the company signed a 5-year supply agreement with government, appointing it as a sole supplier of refined petroleum products. We have more in this story.
While the Middle East is the dominant source, Vitol Bahrain specifically draws refined petroleum products from several key areas to supply the Ugandan market. That is, including Oman, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and from India, Russia, and Libya.
So the contingent arrangement between Vitol and UNOC provide that Vitol, the supplier, has to make sure that they target many sources of petroleum products, such that if one source is gotten affected, then they are able to get fuel from other sources.
As of March 3rd, 2026, the global price for refined gasoline is approximately $2.44 per gallon, which translates to about 2,436 shillings per litre.
We did not commit ourselves in writing, like other countries committing to only one, the supplier that is getting from only one source was dangerous. So the president guided us, and we put it in writing. It's part of the agreement. It's part of the term sheet that UNOC signed with Vitol.
Local fuel marketing companies like petrol stations and other outlets have been cautioned not to hike prices or hoard fuel in a bid to take advantage of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East.
That is satanic, wanting to make obscene profits. You received the products at a certain cost. Why are you hiding it to cause scarcity? We have mandate to cancel you. We can stop dealing with you. We are the only supplier, okay? UNOC is the only supplier.
Uganda's fuel security ultimately depends on the volume of strategic reserves that the country holds against global supply disruptions. In the event of prolonged interruption along key international transit routes, the number of reserve days available would determine how long normal economic activity can be sustained without shortages. Reporting for UBC News, Wadulo Arnold Mark at Petroleum House in Entebbe.
To the August House now, where the Committee on Commissions, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises, COSASI, has directed the Private Sector Foundation Uganda to provide a detailed breakdown of how over 5.1 billion shillings was spent in the financial year ending 2024. PSFU officials had appeared before the committee to respond to queries raised by the Office of the Auditor General in the audited report for the 2024 financial year.
In the subsequent,
the committee chaired by Nakaseke Central MP Alani Mayanja Sewinya questioned foundation officials over delayed accountability for advances amounting to 1.9 billion shillings issued in 2020, which were reportedly spent but remain unsupported by proper documentation.
Delayed accountability affects service delivery and distorts expenditure figures, as funds are not accounted for in the period in which they were incurred and paid for.
The Auditor General's report further indicates that more than 5.1 billion shillings was expended on supply contracts. This prompted the committee members to task Private Sector Foundation Uganda Executive Director to provide clarification and supporting documentation.
Supply contracts for BDS, market access, that is export and import, in the year 2023 towards 5.1 billion.
The breakdown of supply contract for BDS, no, we don't have it right now.
So what is included in this? What is all about this figure? When someone asks you 5.1, what does it mean? What can you explain to the committee?
Okay. So figures aside, Mr. Chairman, the BDS or Business Development Services, we are providing support services to recipients of these resources. So we have to train the people on financial management, on marketing, on packaging, on accountabilities.
Waida Simo explained that the funds were used to deliver service to small-scale enterprise owners across the country. Committee members demanded verifiable evidence, performance indicators, and beneficial accountability reports.
Other labs, how would it differ from the business development services? I think they have to come clear, distinguishing the 5.1 from the rest of the items.
Asimwe also noted that with the support from the MasterCard Foundation, thousands of youths were facilitated to venture into small-scale businesses, a move he says has contributed to addressing unemployment.
We then identified over and above the agricultural space. We looked at how do we scale someone from a micro to a small enterprise. How do you scale someone from small to medium? And how do you scale someone from medium to large?
The committee has now directed Private Sector Foundation Uganda to submit a comprehensive accountability documents to support the questioned expenditures.
Yes, we've had, but if we could get details of how these monies were spent, it would help this committee, Honorable Chair.
Susanna Nabugode, Rebecca Nantongo for UBC News.
Resulting
to Masindi now, where Masindi District Council has passed a resolution approving the relocation of roadside way bridges. On a recommendation by the Internal Affairs Minister on 13th February, the Ministry of Trade closed 4 roadside way bridges, including Katugo, Rukondwa, Chihande and Miria, in an operation backed by the Uganda Police Force.
Masindi District Council, presided over by the District Speaker, Moses Kiria, has resolved that roadway bridges should be relocated from the current location to the areas outside the sugarcane growing areas. In his motion, the District Secretary of Production and Trade, Godfrey Bigawa, suggests that roadside way bridges should be located to the areas along highways leading to the respective factories as provided by the law.
We agreed upon on all way bridges to be located on routes within the licensed area
However, the workers' representative in the district council, Dennis Tumwine, moved amendment to the motion that the location of way bridges should be according to the national sugar regulations.
Advised the council that as we are trying to adopt these recommendations, we should amend this specific recommendation of relocation of way bridges, because I tried to remind the council that as we are trying to discuss these issues of way bridge, we should be mindful of the laws in place.
The Masini District Chairperson Cosmas Yaruhanga concurred with Tumwine's submission and cited Section 26C, Clause 2 as the relevant legislation that council should consider while determining locations of the way bridges. Section 26C, Clause 2 of the Sugarcane regulations states that the weighing of sugarcane can be carried out at the licensed premises of the licensed person.
Everybody is pulling this side, and for us as district leaders, we can't make decisions for them. Chisarachi,
the Chatiri Town Council District Councillor, said if a farmer is to benefit from sugarcane growing, middlemen at the way bridges should be completely eliminated, accusing them of enjoying money, which should have been profits for farmers. Among other recommendations, the district council passed include labeling of vehicles in the name of the sugar companies, no transportation of sugarcane on tukutukus, border borders and pickups, development of database of farmers' acreage for sugarcane companies operating in the Masini district. Others include non-contracted farmers. Cane should be transported with a letter of LC1 chairperson from the village where sugarcane has been harvested from. All farmers' cane should be sold directly to the companies, buying without involving middlemen, and banned the loading and offloading of sugarcane along the main roads. Kenneth Tanaba compiled the story for UBC News.
We'll now take a short break, but we'll be returning with much more. Do stay with us.
So, Muchara.
Yes, Daddy.
You know the children are going back to school and things are a bit tight, huh? For now, why don't you take half of the fees to junior school, and for the school van contribution, we shall pay later, huh?
Daddy, why don't we pay using MTN Momo, where we stand a chance of winning school fees for a whole year and more? By the way, you can also apply for a school fees loan, and also participating schools can win a school van.
That's right! Win school fees for a whole year and more. Get Momo goodies and a school van for participating schools. You can also apply for a school fees loan. Simply dial *165*80# or use the Momo app.
It's back, bigger and with more business opportunities. It's the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo Poate 2026, Uganda's flagship tourism event. Poate 2026 will take place from the 21st to the 23rd of May 2026 at the Speak Resort Convention Center, Munyonyo, under the theme Wanderlust. It's your time to thrive. Yes, it's your time to tap into Uganda's renewed optimism and tourism growth. Tourism stakeholders, travel trade partners, and tourism enthusiasts will be part of the Poate 2026. Come and network with like-minded people and unlock new business opportunities. To participate, register at www.poate.co.ug. Poate 2026 is brought to you by Uganda Tourism Board and partners.
Welcome back from that short break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. A warm welcome to those of you just joining us. Moving on, engineers in Uganda have joined the global community in celebrating World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development, recognizing the critical role engineers play in shaping the country's future. This year's celebration comes at a time when the UPDF Engineering Brigade is making remarkable progress in transforming Uganda's infrastructure. Let's have more.
Uganda engineers have joined the rest of the world today to celebrate the World Engineering Day, highlighting the pivotal role engineers play in driving infrastructure growth and sustainable development.
We have done a number of schools throughout the country from Ministry of Education, and also we've done a number of health centers throughout the country for Ministry of Health, as I've elaborated before.
The Lugazi-based brigade is headed by the Joint Staff Engineering Colonel James Regaba, an architect trained in the United States. Despite achieving the brigade's goals, they are facing a budget shortfall that is hindering their progress.
We had 2025-2026, we had planned to have a budget of 614 billion. However, because of budget constraints, we could only afford, or were only allocated 82 billion, giving us a shortfall of 532 billion. So they have a budgetary constraint.
Under UPDF establishment, Engineering Brigade mandate is to undertake strategic public infrastructure development during peace and war times. Since the President and the Commander-in-Chief directives, UPDF engineers have undertaken over 400 projects, including iconic Mandela National Stadium and the new arrival terminal at Entebbe International Airport.
So far, we have engaged several MDAs, and among them, we have worked for State House. We have a project for State House, one project. We have, that is for Princess Bagaya. We're constructing a residence for her. We are doing some work for Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We are actually rehabilitating Uganda House, Nairobi.
Haruna Mtesasira, UBC News.
The Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development has begun a nationwide monitoring and evaluation exercise targeting homes for children with disabilities. The exercise aims to ensure compliance with the law, improve living standards and eliminate unregistered and substandard facilities. The Minister of State for Disability Affairs, Helen Grace Asamo, launched the exercise at the Missionaries of Charity, Namugongo.
The Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development is undertaking a comprehensive monitoring and evaluation of homes caring for children with disabilities across the country in a move aimed at safeguarding their welfare and enforcing minimum standards of care. The exercise focuses on identifying homes that lack proper registration, operate below required standards, or unlawfully mix adults with minor children living with disabilities. Launching the exercise at Missionaries of Charity in Namugongo, the Minister of State for Disability Affairs, Helen Grace Asamo, commended the institution for its dedicated service.
When a child grows to 18, you are supposed to take it back to the origin. Unfortunately, these children were dropped on roads. Some of them were picked from police, so the parents cannot be traced. So these children are going to remain in this home forever. So that's why we have come here to really fact-find. How are the children? Have they got separate places for the adults or from the children? And that's something that we approve. The boys have been separated, the girls have been separated, and they're also working on the area of the children. So we are only here to see how we can fix the law to accommodate them and also make sure that they get legally registered as one of our charity homes.
But also we see they are doing the tremendous work. They're really supporting government in taking care of these vulnerable children. And as a ministry, we are going to support them with programs that enhance economic empowerment.
Asamo reaffirmed government's commitment to supporting charity homes through the government disability grant, emphasizing that facilities meeting the required standards will continue to receive support.
But I have promised them that under the special grant for people with disabilities, we can give them a startup capital of about 10 million, where they can do gardening, they can do maybe chicken, in order to supplement the diet that they give their children.
At the same time, the missionaries of charity appealed to well-wishers for additional funding, saying they plan to expand their facilities to accommodate children with disabilities who have grown into adulthood while under their care.
So we are happy for this meeting, and we pray that what we have agreed upon will come to fulfillment.
The National Ramadan Quran competition, organized by Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, UBC, has successfully concluded, with winners walking away with prizes and awards sponsored by different companies. The overall winner received a motorcycle alongside other prizes that were presented by Mr. Nadir Abbasi, the temporary cultural attaché at the Embassy of the Islamic Republic of Iran in Uganda.
Uganda Broadcasting Corporation has organized the National Ramadan Quran competition to nurture Quran scholars and inspire greater interest in Quran recitation among Muslims during the holy month of Ramadan. The Muslim recitation of the Holy Quran is important in pursuit of spiritual reward from Allah.
This is a month where we strive to get a lot of rewards. So whoever is here, be it the parents, be it the kids, be it the directors, we are here basically to ensure that we get rewards from Allah.
Participants competed in several categories, including 1 juzu, half juzu, 5 juzu, half Quran, and full Quran, for various prizes and awards. Representatives from collaborating companies like Chapageno Enterprises Limited and Harry Adware Uganda Limited highlighted their reasons for supporting the initiative and outlined the contribution they made towards the success of the event.
Back to our customers who have been supporting us from where Chapa came from. So it is through these competitions, through these campaigns. So this time it was the National Quran competition that we have decided to pass through to give back to the community, and this time through to the Muslim community countrywide.
Manufacturers of Supreme Wave pens and Supreme Office pen, which is the one I'm holding. Ramadan competition is because we manufacture pens that are supposed to be used by students. Being they're our target audience, we would love to make sure that each child get a good writing pen, and we are here on board for them.
Hajati Shaidat Sharisima, speaking on behalf of parents, emphasized the importance of Ramadan Quran competition in strengthening the faith of Muslim children and encouraging Quran memorization.
So it is very important to bring up these kids when they have that fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And two, we believe when they get to know much about their deen, much about Quran, you never know, with this changing world, with so many forces here and there, they can still resist some of them and they still remain good Muslims.
Representing UBC Managing Director Winston Agaba, the Public Relations Officer Senyanga Winfred described the competition as UBC corporate social responsibility.
And for us, it is a corporate social responsibility that we always give to the Islam community here at UBC. It is very important to us that we do it, that we support it, to also show commitment to the Quran during this period of the Ramadan.
On behalf of the organizing committee, Farida Kalumba explained the motivation behind organizing the competition.
The aim of motivating Muslims to memorize the Quran, because this category or this kind of competition is a memorized one. It's called Hifiz in Arabic.
The guest of
And UBC will definitely continue supporting such kind of initiatives. National Housing and Construction Company Limited, NHCC, has allocated 20 acres of land to Spiro Uganda, an electric motorcycle production company, in a move aimed at boosting local manufacturing and expanding production capacity. While inspecting the company's production status, the Chief Executive Director of NHCC, Kenneth Kaijuka, noted the high demand for electric motorcycles, emphasizing the need for expansion to meet the growing market.
Uganda seems to be a big deal in Uganda as we speak right now, with an estimated production of about 400 motorcycles each day. Now, what makes it different is that these are electric motorcycles. They do not consume fuel, neither do they affect the environment.
Established about a year and a half ago, Spiro Uganda specializes in the production of electric motorcycles. The company currently produces an estimated 400 motorcycles per day. On a good day, about 200 motorcycles are sold, while on slower days, sales average around 20 units.
On a good day, we can dispatch up to 200 bikes. Then on a bad day, we can dispatch up to 20 bikes.
The land located in Bukero-Wakiso district is expected to enable the company to begin expansion within a year. The move is also aimed at diversifying production to include other electric vehicles such as cars and buses.
National Housing is providing land for establishment of the mega assembly plant beyond what we see here. And this is already sited at Bukerere in the Wakiso district, just way up after Kira. And we'll participate in the construction, we'll participate in the establishment, making sure that the services are delivered to the plant on behalf of the government of Uganda, because His Excellency the President directed that National Housing and Spiro will put our hands together and make sure this plant is brought up.
The Deputy Country Director, Bruce Muchunguzi, expressed optimism that government support, particularly the allocation of land, will not only boost production, but also create employment opportunities for the youth.
Spiro came in Uganda to see how to support the vision of the President to improve the position of our economy and also provide jobs, increase on industrialization, and have this technological transfer of the new technology that comes with electric mobility.
Henry Walugembe, a Spiro body rider, shared his experience, explaining why he opted for an electric motorcycle and how it has served him over the past year since its purchase.
Number one, safety. I'm not afraid, even if I'm working late nights, I'm not afraid on the road. It is environmental friendly. I save more using my electric bike than using a fuel bike.
However, he also pointed out challenges, especially the limited number of battery swapping stations. He called upon management and government to expedite the expansion process to increase access to swapping facilities.
You find us struggling in lines at a swap station. You find a swap station has batteries. You have to wait until they get to a certain percentage to be swapped.
Charity Marion Imnat and Stephen Kalisha reporting for UBC News.
Kampala Capital City Authority, KCCA, has encouraged beneficiaries of the Parish Development Model, PDM, in the Central Region to make installment payments of their funds to enable more community members benefit from the revolving fund. Speaking during the launch of an online repayment system in Kampala, KCCA Deputy Executive Director Bendon Kigenyi emphasized the importance of transparency and accountability in the management of PDM funds.
The parish development model continues to transform livelihoods across the country. In Lubaga Division, Kampala District, a total of 4.55 billion has been disbursed, benefiting 4,555 households so far. In Kawala Central Zone, Namtawe Harima is among the beneficiaries who received funds in August last year. She invested 300,000 in purchasing chicks and poultry feeds.
Era nakaleta emirundi ng'esatu ku ssente za PDM
Sente za PDM zikyusizza nnyo obulamu bwange nnyo nno ddala era neebaza Pulezidenti Museveni Allah mutuweera obulamu obulungi. Singa kiba kisoboka Pulezidenti Museveni omusaba nnyongereyoko kasente k'emmere naye nga sente ze yampa ze zino.
Similarly, Namutebe Harriet, one of the first beneficiaries who received the funds in December 2022, invested in a soft drinks business. She purchased a refrigerator and stocked beverages for sale.
Nesobola otandikawo ka business kano ne sente entonotono ngera tekali mu bintu n'essente za PDM zinyambye kubanga amanzi asobola okuba nti nterekayo mu kibiina gye tuteeka sente buli lwa mukaaga emitwalo ng'etaano eginyambako okusasula ku fees z'abaana.
According to government guidelines issued by the President, the PDM funds are to be repaid after 2 years to support the establishment and growth of community banks at the parish level.
Komezaawo kiba kitegeeza nti abalala bazirinze bajja kufunamu obuzibu okukola ki okuzifuna.
KCCA's Deputy AD Benon Kigenyi urged all beneficiaries to make small payment to honor their obligations, stressing that returning the funds will allow others in the community to access the same opportunity.
Naye essuubi lijja kubeera ddamu nnyo singa alaba nti ffe abaasooka okufuna tukola ki tuzzaayo naye bw'alituuka okufuna alizzaayo awo nno sente zino ziri mu muluka gwaffe ne ziva ku zibadde 10 kati ziri mu 350 mu myaka 5 tuyinza okuba nga tufunye kubanga tulinawo akawumbi kamu ne miliyoni 5.
Under the newly launched system aided by Wendy App, beneficiaries can now repay their loans conveniently using their mobile phones, a move KCCA says will enhance transparency.
Justices, judges and magistrates are set to experience reduced workload pressure following the introduction of a new judgment writing tool developed by the Judiciary of Uganda in collaboration with the LexisNexis Rule of Law Foundation. Speaking during the training of justices, judges, registrars and magistrates at the Judiciary headquarters in Kampala, Justice Geoffrey Chidiabwire, who officially opened the training, said the tool will significantly improve efficiency in judgment writing and help address the persistent case backlog in the judiciary.
For a long time, judicial officers have relied on conventional methods of research and drafting judgments. The process has often contributed to delays in delivering justice to litigants. To enhance efficiency and promote timely justice, the judiciary, in partnership with LexisNexis Rule of Law Foundation, developed the judgment writing tool aimed at speeding up preparation and delivery of judgments.
The judges can have a centralized workplace where they have features like case law, features like legislation, features like templates to help them consistently write their judgments. They already know what they're going to write. They can already pre-detect what they're going to write.
Besides assisting judicial officers in drafting judgments, the tool will also benefit legal practitioners who interact with the system.
Within the Microsoft Word document, LexisNexis has embedded a feature with the judgment writing tool Scribe. The tool is also envisioned to help lawyers and other court users easily understand the outcome of decisions made by judicial officers across Uganda's judiciary.
While opening that training, Justice Geoffrey Chidiabwire, the chairperson of the Judgment Writing Tool Initiative, noted that the innovation comes at a crucial time when the judiciary is grappling with a prolonged challenge of case backlog.
You will not have to do it because all of that will be on your Microsoft Word. We are able to work together with the team and use other tools within Microsoft, which will allow you to use AI.
However, Justice Kiriabwire cautioned the judicial officers, as well as the tool is designed to reduce the time spent on writing judgments, it must be applied properly and professionally.
It will not write your judgments for you. So if you have come here, say, now I have a judgment writing tool, now I just have to throw all my pleadings, my submissions there, and then the judgment will come out on the other side. You're going to be disappointed. But I can assure you it is going to help you improve the way you work.
Afson Maxlins, representing LexisNexis and the Rule of Law Foundation, said the motivation behind partnering with the judiciary to develop the tool highlights their commitment to strengthen the rule of law and supporting efficient justice systems.
And it is important for us as a team that her leadership is acknowledged here today. It's Terry's commitment to strengthening the rule of law, not just in principle, but in practical operational ways that is woven into every stage of this project. We carry forward Terry's legacy with gratitude and determination to see this project flourish.
The two-day training attracted over 100 judicial officers from various courts across the country. Chief Justice Dr. Flavian Zeija is expected to officially close that training on Thursday this week. The judgment writing tool was developed over 3 years, costing the judiciary 2.2 billion Ugandan shillings. Deborah Namamonde, Viola Nance Subuga, UBC News.
So, Muchala.
Yes, Daddy.
You know the children are going back to school and things are a bit tight, huh? For now, why don't you take half of the fees to junior school, and for the school van contribution, we shall pay later, huh?
Daddy, why don't we pay using MTN Momo, where we stand a chance of winning school fees for a whole year and more? By the way, you can also apply for a school fees loan, and also participating schools can win a school van.
That's right! Win school fees for a whole year and more. Get Momo goodies and a school van for participating schools. You can also apply for a school fees loan. Simply dial *165*80# or use the Momo app.
In 2024, Uganda recorded 37,000 new HIV infections and 20,000 AIDS-related deaths, a situation that calls for collective efforts if the country is to achieve its target of ending AIDS by 2030.
Somebody infecting another person. So there's no way you can say men cannot be infected, only women can be infected. So from the simple fact that people can infect one another, there's no logic in saying that only women should test. It should be everybody. It's just logical.
Together, we can end AIDS in Uganda. Every second counts. Let's act now. This message is brought to you by Uganda AIDS Commission, Office of the President.
Are you looking for a home away from home? Then this is the place for you. My name is Chini Kaji, and welcome to Hotel Le Confidential.
With 84 comfortable rooms where you can relax and feel safe. Each room has a lovely view of green vegetation, Wi-Fi, air conditioning, and a tasty breakfast.
Children can have fun at our kids' water park and our kids' play area. You can also enjoy our world-class health club, spa, sauna, gym, boutique, and sky blue swimming pool.
Thank you for choosing Hotel Le Confidential, where every stay is unforgettable. Come and stay in comfort, right at home, today, tomorrow, and always.
Business news now, and Uganda Registration Services Bureau has attained the ISO certificate, which recognizes the company's high-level standards to international level. Now, this achievement is expected to improve recognition of the organization across borders, as we hear in this story.
By listing the Uganda Registration Services Bureau on the International Organization for Standardization guarantees efficiency, quality and customer satisfaction.
It means that URSB is governed by systems, standards and accountability. And to our clients out there and our partners that have made time to come, we promise predictability, enhanced predictability, because there's already predictability. We promise enhanced transparency. We promise enhanced trust.
The company is to leverage on the international recognition to fulfill its mandate of ensuring registering qualified companies in Uganda with relevant documentation.
What is the aim of this? Simplify our processes and position Uganda as the best destination for ease of doing business. This is our goal. If I'm an investor, I want to invest in Uganda. Of course, you have to make a company. I ask myself, how long does it take me to have a company registered in Uganda?
I believe that ISO certification is about building strong, predictable, and accountable systems that place the citizen at the center of service delivery. It demands clarity of processes, defined responsibilities, performance measurement, risk management, and continuous improvement.
The standardization body has to work towards institutional excellence and enhanced service provision to maintain the ISO standards.
As we take on this quality certification, we all understand that quality is not just a mere act, it is a system. But it's also not a system, it is a system run by the people.
With this achievement, the Uganda Registration Services Bureau enhanced the recognition of Ugandan companies to regional level and beyond. Komagum Rogers for UBC.
Uganda has reaffirmed its commitment to export-led growth, highlighting a record-breaking export earnings and renewed policy reforms aimed at accelerating the country's journey toward a $500 billion economy by 2040. This was revealed by the Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, Francis Mwebesa, at the 2026 National Trade Review Conference.
The National Trade Review Conference is intended to generate actionable trade policy recommendations that accelerate Uganda's tenfold growth ambition. Trade Minister Francis Mwebesa announced that Uganda's total exports surged to $13.4 billion in 2025, up from $5 billion in 2020, marking a more than 160% increase over the 5 years.
The export growth in 2025 was driven by gold, which reached $6.4 billion, while coffee exports amounted to $2.2 billion, consolidating Uganda's position as Africa's leading coffee exporter. Together with these achievements, demonstrate Uganda's steady transition towards export diversification, increased value addition, and a more resilient, broad-based export sector.
Minister of State for Trade, General Wilson Mbasumbadi, noted progress in industry expansion, strengthened standards and deeper regional trade diplomacy within the East African Community and COMESA blocs.
Uganda's trade and industrial landscape has advanced significantly, positioning the country firmly on the path towards structural transformation and long-term prosperity. Uganda has registered historic export growth to over $13.4 billion, although trade has a trade deficit.
Development partners, including Trademark Africa and the United Kingdom government, highlighted investments in digital trade systems and centralized standards.
So the Middle East is again a sad story. It's something that has hit us. It was not predicted. We already see several flights are gone. Is what does this mean for us as Uganda and for Africa? We need to be able to strengthen the regional value chains. Okay, we're saying instead of taking again these products from elsewhere, how about we get them from other African countries?
But the outside world laugh at us Africans. How can you be producing like this and you are choked with the taxes? How can you be adding value to these fruits and you are not assisted by the government?
Under the tenfold growth strategy, government aims to increase manufacturing value-added products to 20% of GDP by 2030 and double industrial capacity utilization. Mary Namkose, UBC News.
And that's all time we had for. Thank you so much for having kept us company. On sign language, it's been Elizabeth Nakakoni, and I am Rukidi Edward Kijanagoma wishing you a blessed night. But do remember that up next year on UBC TV is Super Soul Sisters with Oluka Jamila. That will be followed later on at 10 p.m. by Behind the Headlines with Timothy Nyangweso.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
It has always